Hi guys, Jamie Insel here. Well, this is a bit of a funny one, to be honest. Me and Nath was travelling today to work, and Nath said you don't have to chat so much shit on Twitter, and it is funny, like, but wouldn't it be funny if you done some kind of podcast? I thought to myself, podcast, that's a bit long. I've done many of them in my time, so has Nath. So we thought we'd do like a little voice recording, maybe each week, just when the things are heating up on Twitter about certain footballing aspects around the Midlands. So yeah, me and Nath sat in the old tarmac transit at the minute on the way to work, and we thought we'd do a little voice note of little things that's happening in the minute, little talking points. It might be 8 minutes, it might be 18 minutes, but yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. So say hello, Nath.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. So I think the three main talking points that's been going around Twitter today that we can have a little talk about, really. Some things where maybe I've been a bit outspoken, a bit. Some things that maybe has ruffled a few feathers, but as people probably know me already, I really couldn't give a shit. So the three talking points today, Nath, where do you want to start? We've got Howes Owens, Paul Smith, obviously our gaffer at the time, has left his role as the Howes Owen manager, and we now have Craig and Sock taking part. Philly Grant Mitchell is now our managing team. We've also got the Worcester City job, which I think that's quite a big talking point. Massive, which is today come to Twitter that both have left. And we've also got the job that Chris Corns is doing at Bewdley at the minute, which is starting to get recognised. He's been doing a great job for the last 18 months, really, even at Worcester Raiders. So I think, where do you want to start, Nath?
I'll tell you what, we'll start with Chris Corns at Bewdley.
Chris Corns at Bewdley. Before we get on to Chris Corns, I just want to make it very, very, very clear. Yes, he's a very good mate of mine and Nath's, but everything, mainly me, put on Twitter, but Nath's quote tweeted a few things. Everything we put on Twitter, none of this has come from Chris himself. I know he's happy at the minute at what he's doing at Bewdley. I know he's doing a great job there. He's not looking elsewhere to get other jobs. I think in the long run he wants to have a crack at higher clubs and a higher tier team, which in my opinion he'd be very successful at. But yeah, another win yesterday, Nate, 6-4.
Yeah, to be honest, didn't expect it, but then again, he is working wonders at the club. Sorry, I'm assuming talking about. But even with a shoestring budget, it's even when he was at Raiders, he was working wonders there. Obviously, what went on, and Chris moved on, went to Bewdley, and seems to be doing a fantastic job in 6-4 against, from obviously what I've heard, a very decent Lichfield side. So all we can do is praise him, and to be fair, he's knocking at a door going for a few higher clubs, really, in the managerial obviously sense. So yeah, take your ass off to him, really.
I think when it comes to me, obviously I've had like personal issues with Worcester City all my life, but I just think it's a perfect opportunity for maybe a Worcester City, a Bromsgrove, or somewhere, maybe a step, or even a Worcester City is in Bewdley's league. The stature of the club's obviously huge. For me, what he's doing at the minute at Bewdley, he's doing wonders, really. Like Nath come on to, the budget he's got is ridiculous. I reckon most people working a 9 to 5 is picking up more money a week than what Bewdley's budget is a week. And the job he done at Worcester Raiders to start with him and Carl, I know they still get on very well, even though it ended a bit sour. I know it's not sour between them two, but what he did there was unbelievable. And to go to Bewdley and keep him up, and this year to be joint 8th as we're recording this on a Wednesday, and had a big result yesterday. You've got, sometimes when you've got a massive budget, you can get away with it as a manager and bring certain players in, but when, like Nave said, when you've got a budget as small as he is, and imagine what he could do with a a big budget. But yeah, once again, I want to reiterate, because I know he'll be on my case. He hates me tagging him in things in Twitter. Everything I talk about on Twitter has no resemblance on what me and Chris talk about. The only thing I know is one day he would like to manage higher. But the conversation about Worcester City or your Bromsgroves or Telford or any of these bigger clubs, he's never really spoke about wanting them jobs. So there's one point we're talking about. Like I said, this isn't going to be a podcast. It's going to be little talking points for people to listen to, people to agree with. People might say, with you two are a pair of wallers. And to be honest, I've been called a lot worse. So it's a bit of fun for me and Nath on our tarmacking journey. So Nath, Worcester City. I'm going to let you have the floor to start with. What's your thoughts, Nath, on the appointment to start with that Worcester made, and B, what they're going to do now?
Where do I start? Everyone thought they'd have a great season beforehand, but they obviously beat us in pre-season.
We won't go there.
Don't really want to mention that, but it is what it is. Like I said, that old saying, you never judge pre-season, and look what's happened. But yeah, the appointment of the managers that had just left was a good appointment in my opinion. But it's hard to transition in terms of bringing loads of players in, regardless whether they're proven or not. There's a lot of players that are coming in and going. So it's a lot of questions to ask, whether the managers actually wanted to stay, whether it's to do with the boards, money. Could not tell you, but unfortunately they are in a very dismal position, and from last night's showing as well, it don't look good, does it, Jamie?
No, it doesn't. I just want to say one thing. When Worcester City made them appointments, I actually didn't. I knew they both manage Hensford, and obviously I've heard good things about both of them. And once I saw the appointment, I went to click on their profiles, and surprisingly I was blocked. So once again, when I talk about Worcester City, it has no impact on the managers. Like I said, I don't know them to know if they're good or they're not. My opinion was just a bit, at the time, I thought it was a bit of a rushed appointment, and I was obviously Team Corns, go and give him an interview, and I think for me, not giving him an interview was a bit of a mad one. And then the managers to come in and offload 9 players and bring 12 in or whatever it was, I don't know if that was the right way, but who am I to say? I'm just a player, I don't really know. But I think me and Nath can agree, we played them pre-season and they absolutely bopped us. How was Owen? So I think we thought they were odds on to go up, to be honest. I think the feeling now around Worcester is I think they do want someone homegrown. I think they want a bit more homegrown Worcester players to come and play again. And I think who's in the firing line? Quinton Townsend maybe. I know he probably might want it. I don't know. I know Quinton quite well, but I haven't spoke to him about it. But it wouldn't surprise me if he would want to crack at the job. Cornsey would be the first person I'd be ringing, whether he would want that job now. You'd have to ask him that. I'm not too sure. I know he's quite happy at Bewdley at the minute. Just trying to think, is there who else locally, Nath, would you think Worcester potentially could go get? Maybe like a Bren Kelly?
Potentially. Depends really, doesn't it? There's loads of questions. It is, like you said, it's a massive club in terms of stature and that, but it hasn't been really a massive club in football sense for quite a few years now, has it? So it's like you said, you're going to have to ask the questions whether there's problems in-house or it's just obviously managerial things, which I don't think it is to a certain aspect with the last managers. I just don't think that it's worked out. But Bren Kelly's another massive name. Would he put a CV towards it? You don't know, do you?
Yeah, I agree. I think the next appointment is massive, to be honest, because I don't think you can keep chopping and changing. You need a settled group, and I think that's kind of what the fans are wanting in a way. Obviously, looking yesterday after their performance, seeing what the fans were tweeting on there, obviously we've got our personal issues for when they were in the north and they didn't want to look at any local talent, and they'd rather pay £600-700 to players from Manchester and whatnot to come down when the likes of us would have probably played for free. But yeah, at the minute for me the team in Worcester is Raiders. Cole Gorman is doing an absolutely amazing job there, but wouldn't it be nice for someone like a Chris Corns or a local manager to come and have a bit of beef between the two clubs, because we all love a bit of beef, don't we, Dave? Eh? Okay, the third little talking point is Paul Smith. Done an absolute amazing job for the last 3 years. Was unlucky with COVID not to get promoted. I think this year, well on course again to be up there. I think we can say that as players, we're top of the league at the minute, or minimum getting the playoffs. I think he was doing a great job, but obviously the passing of his father and his father-in-law is took its toll. And I think, as much as I'm outspoken on Twitter, I think one thing I've learned in the last 2 years is family does come first. And if you're not, I don't want to use the word mentally, but if you're not mentally all there with the football and you've got things going on at home, I think he's made the right decision.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate, to be honest. Family comes first, and it's a lot of strain emotionally as well as mentally, so your mental health within yourself needs to be put first also. And I think that's what Paul Smith, the gaffer's done, and well, we both wish him all the best, and the whole club do, players, managers, staff. Done an amazing job with Howes Owen. They wouldn't be in the place they are now if it wasn't for Paul, and he achieved quite a lot while he was there. So yeah, if you are listening, Paul, if you do listen to this mad podcast talk, whatever you want to call it,
if we're honest, we know you probably ain't going to listen to this, but yeah. I don't think I'll be happy to get 2 viewers, Nathan. Yeah, and I think, yeah, I'll echo that. I think Paul obviously brought me and Nathan. I think off the bloke he's a top bloke off the pitch, and to be fair, he's a great manager. But now I think we turn to, as Nave called him, filling Grant Mitchell. Now Craig and Sock, I think it's no secret that everyone in that change room wanted him. I think Nave. I think there would have been dozens of applications, and I don't think they put it on Twitter. I don't think they put it out on Twitter for applicants to apply. I think it was pretty certain that the players made it clear who they wanted, and I think that's sometimes where player power can come in. Not that the chairman asked me anything personally, but I think it was pretty obvious that the players wanted Craig and Sock in, at least to the end of the season. I think we had one training session yesterday and we started to work on patterns of play, and I think it's sometimes when you've got people who's been working with the gaffer, who's everything that they've learnt from the gaffer, and then just to put their own little spin on it. I'm quite excited to see where this can go and see what happens by the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the non-league Ten Hag taking charge now with Pep Guardiola, so hopefully it all works out. But yeah, looking forward to the future in terms of Howes Owen.
Brilliant. So that's 13 minutes of us just chatting absolute bollocks, really. But if there's talking points, we're going to try and get this out most weeks on a Thursday. Obviously it's Wednesday today. We're in our little truck running around doing a few things, and we're just about to get out the car, out the transit, and put some tarmac down. The old fucking tarmackers, excuse my language. But yes, we're going to do one a week, guys. Enjoy it. Brilliant. Happy days. Want more, we do more. Don't like it, hate it, can't stand it, just unfollow me, I think. I really couldn't give a shit. But yeah, thanks, guys, and we'll see you all soon.
Don't unfollow me, I need the followers.